During the era in which The Merchant of Venice by William Shakespeare takes place, women had very limited societal roles and specific expectations. For example, women were regarded as objects under the control of their father until they were married, when they became under the control of their husband. Women in this time were not allowed to go to school and were regarded as the weaker sex both physically and emotionally. Women were not allowed to speak their minds, especially to men, and were expected to sit and look pretty. In The Merchant of Venice, women play an essential role. The reason women play an essential role in this play is because women do not conform to the societal expectations for women at the time. This play is important because the women in it are seen challenging gender stereotypes imposed on them by society. This play bends the gender norms in a way that is unique and effective. The women that are challenging gender stereotypes do not regard themselves as feminists and do not think that they are doing something radical. Some examples of this are when Portia is depicted having strong opinions, Portia finds loopholes in her father's will, and when Portia disguises herself as a lawyer. To begin, an example of feminism and women having an essential role in the play, Portia is portrayed as a woman who is strong-willed, opinionated, and is also under the control of her dead father. Portia states, quote, "O me, the word choose. I may neither choose whom I would nor refuse whom I dislike. So it is the will of a living daughter curbed by the will of a dead father." Act 1, Scene 2, line 22-24. In this quote, she acknowledges that she's under the will of her father and not her own free will. In this scene, it is apparent that Portia would like to make her own choice on who she will marry, and that she has strong opinions about potential suitors. This challenges the role of Elizabethan women because women during the era who spoke their minds were not liked and were often unmarried. However, in this scene, we see that even though Portia is strong-willed and opinionated, she has men traveling in from all over for the chance to marry her. During this scene, Portia has Nerissa name candidates to her, and she gives her honest opinion. In the play, she does not hold back. Quote, "God made him and therefore let him pass for a man," Act 1, Scene 2, line 50, is how she described the French lord. This challenges the societal roles of the time because it flips gender roles. Rather than having men look at women as objects to marry, a woman is looking at men as objects to marry and judging their flaws. In conclusion, Portia battles gender and societal roles of the time by openly expressing her opinion and judging the potential suitors for her marriage. To continue, another example of women having an essential role in the play is when Portia finds a loophole in her father's will. Because Portia and Bassanio love each other and want to be with each other, but Portia doesn't want to disobey her father's wishes, they must find a way to be together. Portia uses her wits to figure that they can spend as much time as they want together as long as Bassanio doesn't take the casket test. She says, quote, "I would detain you here for some month or two before you venture for me. I could teach you how to choose right, but I am then forsworn." Act 3, Scene 2, line 9-10. She is portrayed as a smart character, which again challenges the view of women at the time. As much as she would like to tell Bassanio which casket to choose, she keeps her honor and does not. The response of Bassanio, quote, "Let me choose now. I feel tortured by all this talking," Act 3, Scene 2, line 24 and 25, also adds to the scene because he, a man, does not fully listen to the wisdom of Portia, a woman. The reason for this appears to be love, but can be also representative of how men at the time would not listen to a woman's opinion, no matter how factual and logical. The way The Merchant of Venice shows both Nerissa and Portia as strong, opinionated women is very important and also essential to the play. Without these key qualities, the story could not have progressed the way it did. In addition, an example of women having an essential role in the play is when Portia disguises herself as a lawyer and Nerissa as a lawyer's clerk. Not only is this essential because they save Antonio's life, but also because she does not conform to women's roles and stereotypes of the time. To begin, the action taken by Nerissa and Portia, along with her wits and logical reasoning, were able to spare Antonio's life, as well as to remove Shylock's wealth from him. Portia once again is able to find a loophole in a contract. This plays into the fact that Shakespeare has flipped the idea of women's roles and abilities on its head. In a time where women were uneducated, not allowed to express opinions, and were regarded as objects to be taken care of, Portia and Nerissa are arguably some of the strongest characters in the play, using logical thinking in many occasions to avoid problems imposed while obeying written contracts. Quote, "This bond doth give thee here no jot of blood. The word expressedly are, a pound of flesh. Take then thy blood, take thou thy pound of flesh." Act 4, Scene 1, line 297. States Portia, "Her wits and independence serve her good, and allow her to free Antonio from losing a pound of flesh because Shylock is not entitled to blood." She then points out, quote, "For as thou urgest justice, be assured thou shalt have justice more than thou desireth." Act 4, Scene 1, line 307, in Spite. This scene of the play also speaks volumes about the era. Even though Portia made valid logical points, she was only listened to because she had disguised herself as a man. Had Portia appeared as herself, no man would have given her the time of day, no matter how much wisdom she spoke. This does an amazing job of showing that it was not typical of the time to see smart, independent females who expressed their mind, and showed society was not accepting of such. The reasons given above amplify how the women in The Merchant of Venice show strength, independence, intelligence, resourcefulness, and so much more. These qualities presented by both Nerissa and Portia during the play are vital and groundbreaking, and both allow for the play to be what it was. These women played an essential role regarding plot, both resolving conflicts and interacting with important characters. For example, Portia's world colliding with Bassanio's world and resulting in Portia being involved in the trials of Antonio and Shylock. These women, however, also added so much to the story via making a statement on women during the era the play was written. For example, Portia and Nerissa freely speak their minds, and so much more. While these characters were making statements on how women should be able to present themselves, they did not believe they were feminist, nor did they believe their actions were radical. They simply believed that they were living their lives as they wanted, which they were. Without these vital characters, the play would not have been able to be as powerful as it was, both literally via the plot and social via its message and commentary on social ideas.